The Fantasy Codex by the Bright Letter. Act 1. Higroshi the Mage of the South-He Saga. Part 2. Venturing Off and Protecting Home. Interlog. Has it finally been finished? Wonders Higroshi. I'm not sure, Menzi says. In her mind she goes over every syllable of the spell. I think it is. Okay, Hetsu, cast the spell. Hetsu takes a deep breath in and bells out the incantation. I imp perennium life core cycle low yesterday did more low though today Hetsu. He disappears from view. Okay, reassures Higroshi. He should reappear soon to report his experience. Hopefully the spell worked as we hoped. A few moments pass and Hetsu is yet to return. The spell works for the return home, right? So he can get home? Yes. He just has to repeat the spell and he returns. Time seems slower to Menzi, waiting for Hetsu to report back. She decides to start a conversation with the question she has been meaning to ask him. How is Truany? Not well, I'm afraid. We hardly see each other. And my success, the success she's been wanting since we got together, has now made her sick from the stress. Just then, Hetsu comes back, breathing heavily and sweating. What happened? Were you in danger? Not at all. I was... Hetsu stops for a moment to catch his breath. I was running around freely, sprinting, jumping, and rolling. I was in a place void of people, and it was beautiful. What did it look like? Asked Menzi. Grass fields, all around me, as far as I could see. We've done it, Higroshi says under his breath. He looks into the gold eyes of his friends and says considerably louder, We have found the Ferenium realm. 1. Higroshi, along with the other rulers of the realm, are looking into a special kind of incantation. Incantations that will take them to places unheard of to the common person. These spells are of the Ib class, the spell mage used to dismiss Merlot from the realm just 12 months ago. In this time, Higroshi has become fascinated with the spell, and with the help of Hetsu and Menzi, they have constructed a spell to travel to the Ferenium realm, a place first mentioned by Mage to his sons Krob and Gomak, who mentioned it to Higroshi once the level 70 Mage told the brothers he wanted to know more about the Ib spell. Evner, the once dark mage, doesn't participate in the Ib studies. He feels a spell that was used for getting rid of an evil sorcerer shouldn't be tampered with and used on us just so we can slip up, say the wrong syllable, and end up with Merlot wherever he is. Still, he would like to know how it works. He meets with Hetsu in the yard of Higroshi's newly constructed castle in Gomak's land. To construct the spell properly, Hetsu begins. We must have the part of the spell recognizing itself as the spell, the added bonuses of the spell, the origin of the spell, and the person who will be taking part in the spell. Hetsu, a 5-point incantation? The record in this realm was always 4. It helps to have a level 70 Surger, a level 70 Soul Surger, and a level 32 Creatine Magi working together. It is amazing, isn't it? It used to be that Soul Surger and Creatine Magi magic ability would cancel each other out. Now it seems their powers exceeded when together. Just look at Menzi's level. 32? It's been 1 year since we 4 reached 20, and I'm just reaching 24.1. The next thing Hetsu says pains him to say. They really have a destined connection. So what's your level now, Het? 23.5. You see, isn't it strange that the most attractive thing Higroshi, or either of us for that matter, has ever seen has a level beyond both of us? What are you saying, Evner? You think this is a conspiracy? The one stark mage thinks for a moment. No, not a conspiracy. Just strange. Higroshi and Menzi tirelessly study to create another Ib spell in a room specially made for creating and experimenting with incantations. On one side of the room there is a full bookshelf that reaches from floor to ceiling and covers half of the wall. Next to the bookshelf are 3 separate desks for Higroshi, Menzi, and Hetsu, where Higroshi and Menzi are quietly enthralled now. On the other side of the room are candles to enhance magic potency, chalk for incantations done by intricately designed circles on the ground, and other magical objects to assist them. Ferenium was a success. We can now explore the realm or move on to the next. If we move on, I have a realm in mind to explore. Higroshi, Menzi interrupts. Yes? How's Truany? Higroshi stands up from his desk. He walks to the towering bookshelf examining the books. She left me. The soul searcher then picks up a book on the fifth shelf from the bottom and begins to skim through it. She left a note saying, "Our love was in the journey, not the ending." All of her things were gone this morning. "I'm so sorry, Hig." Menzies' tone shows sincerity. "So am I. At least now I am able to concentrate on our studies, and on the relationships I know are strongly upheld. Like ours," Menzies says with a smile. "Anytime you would like to talk about tyranny, or anything else for that matter, I am here." "What about you, Menzies? Do you have a relationship with anyone?" "Not now, but soon I should think. A high-ranking mage of the Flame Clan, I'm sure." Menzies smiled at this. His reaction put her in a playful mood. She leans back in her chair and casts an illusion spell of yellow bending light, making it twist this way and that. "Would you like to meet him?" "Allow me to meet him, and I'm sure you'd make a decision at the last moment." "What is she making a decision on?" Higroshi and Menzies turn to see Hetsu entering the room, with a scroll and several books. Higroshi looks to Menzies and witnesses something that almost shatters his heart. Curses level 70 senses. Looking at Menzies, he sees her taking in his every movement, and waiting for his next one. She fixes her hair, but quickly so Hetsu doesn't notice, and her face becomes slightly redder with each step he takes closer to them. His competition for Menzies is not someone of the Flame Clan. It is Hetsu. 2. You all were called here, man and woman alike, because we are being challenged. Indeed, this is so. Our realm was saved from the wretched level 50 Merlo by the lords with allies, but what has happened as a result? A level 70 named Higroshi rules over the majority of the land, and all he does is stay hidden in his castle. Boos and hollers come from the crowd in answer to what the man said behind the podium. "Brothers and sisters of mage dominance, we will not stay dormant." Gasps and then cheers rang through the crowd. "We have joined forces with Heredity Gang and Grip Growth. Hydra and their leaders are here today to talk with us about how we will make ourselves known. Here are Domlings of the Heredity Gang and Honsek of Grip Growth." The two well-known leaders were given an applause as they walked onto the stage and joined Jermadron at the podium. The door behind the crowd was opened, and in came the Heredity and Group followers to partake in the meeting. Now in this large underground auditorium dwell three powerful groups, gathered here to make a difference in the realm. "There are rumors," starts Honsek. "Very short, minuscule details attached, but they still ring strong." Honsek scans the crowd and sees not mages, but people holding on to his words. "There are rumors, and if these are proven facts, we may be able to take this land from Mage and give it back to God." Frantic whispers could be heard from the people. "I know, good followers, this may seem terrifying at first listen, but think of it like this. All of the stories you have heard, about living normal lives like your ancestors centuries ago, about a realm without magic, all that can be accomplished, or at least we think it can, if this rumor turns fact." Honza takes a step back, and Dominic stands in front. "The way we are being challenged that your mage spoke of earlier, and the rumor are one and the same. Higroshi the mage is going to different realms." He then takes out of his pocket a small pad of paper and begins to read from it. The spell requires 5 components, but most importantly the spell contains a name. What the name symbolizes is the entire realm on a whole, and the spell wouldn't work without the name. Meaning the realm has a name. Meaning this realm has a name. If this is so, it is only a matter of time before Higroshi finds it. Jermadron steps forward. "Men and women, we must find it first." "Let the power leveling commence," announces Krob. The 5 former lords stand in a circle in a large room of Krob's castle. The room is bare, besides 2 staves left in the corner of the room, and a window, allowing them to see what was once Krob's land. In unison they levitate off the ground, arms forward, palms upward, and begin power leveling, a way of intensely raising your magic level somewhat fast, and at the same time as everyone else participating. The former lords came up with power leveling as a way to stay connected with each other after Merlo was defeated. They have come to a deep connection as mages, and they now all share the same magic level, 40.5. The former lords have been engulfed in the power leveling for hours now, their minds creating more room for magic. During these hours there have been some spells uttered for concentration, magical wisps of light and color twisting around the mages from sheer magic intensity. and low and high-pitched sounds emanating from a source unknown to them. Soon their feet touch the ground again. Gomek and Huden pick up their personalized staves, and all five of them go to tend to the realm as a group, whereas before, they would do this separately. These mages see that Higroshi being the one lord of the realm is a good thing. They just hope others do as well. They start in Krob's land, traveling to the mage in charge of food provisions. All is well, former lord, says Freeb, the food provider. Everyone from here to the southern river is eating well. Good to hear, says Krob. All five former lords take out teleportation spheres, break them, and are taken to Feeder's eastern land, where the Dagoa demons did the most damage. Greetings, former lords. Come to see our progress. Without waiting for a response, the mage who greeted them, Asaph, is now walking and explaining what they are seeing. Most of the houses are rebuilt. Our main goal now is restoring order amongst the Silver Mages. I'm sure you'll get this done, says Feeder. They take out teleportation spheres for their next destination, one apothecary in Bleezy's land. As they walk into the potion shop, Bleezy wonders why Ulanus isn't there to greet the former lords, but then he remembers his tragic fate in the battle with Merlot. Instead of seeing the ally, they are greeted by a young man Bleezy calculates to be 17. Hello, welcome to the potion shop, says the young man nervously. He wasn't expecting to see second most powerful mages in the realm walk in, and all five of them. Hello, says Bleezy. Are you the apothecary? Yes. What do you need? We're here to make sure you're giving your customers the best service you can. Yes, sir. I collect all the ingredients, put them together, and sell them, all on my own and with skill, I would say. Is this for your customer satisfaction? Yes, usually. But he looks at all of the former lords. There have been a lot of people coming in for the same sickness. I know what I need to make the cure for it, but the demand is growing. I'm not sure I can keep up with my customers. You are a great apothecary, beyond your years indeed, but you should not have to work alone, especially if demand is high. I will give you 3 apothecaries working under you that can collect ingredients and put them together just as you can. While you are tending to the sick, I will see what I can do to stop the sickness altogether. I greatly appreciate this, Pleasy. Of course, good apothecary. You will have your tea by tomorrow. Farewell. The 5 mages have their teleportation spheres raised. Wait! They stop. I found this on my potions table one morning. I think it is for you. The young apothecary holds in front of them a yellow note. Bleezy takes it from him and reads it. I am alive. I come to stand at the gates of the new castle. Let me in. 3. Higroshi, Hetsu, and Menzi have uncovered the secrets of another realm. Yield, I weigh you. Every ancient book and scroll found on it mentions its sky, but short and vaguely. In the scroll, Orange Magic, Mage hints that Yilai Yu holds foreign magic. The 3 mages plan to go to this realm and learn its secrets. The spell is now complete, says Menzi. The 3 stand, face each other, and bellow out the realm teleportation spell. I, Abe Yilai Temporic Travestate this mage, and they are whisked off to another realm. Mage's breath, exclaims Hiroshi. They now stand under an all-orange sky. In this all-orange sky, there is a bright blue ball which Hiroshi assumes to be the sun. There are no clouds, only these strange streaks of red lightning, unaccompanied by thunder. Hiroshi looks to what is under his feet, and sees it is a light gray stone. The stone is not plain. There are small writings on the stone, in a language he is unfamiliar with. The 3 mages are essentially standing on a stone book that reaches the horizon. This is sure to be an interesting journey, says Hetsu. What do we do now? Asks Menzi. Let us examine the writing cut into the stone. Maybe we'll see something we're familiar with. They begin looking at the strange markings, attempting to make a connection to what they're seeing now, to what they've seen while studying. Hiroshi finds one marking that was on a page of orange magic, but cannot find a meaning behind it. Suddenly he senses eyes on him. He looks up and sees, far in the distance, a slender figure. Menzi, can you see that? Menzi looks up and is slightly startled. She then overcomes her fear and casts a spell. Hawksight! She stares for a moment at the figure, then says, a young woman, dark skin, cloth apparel, and what looks like a magic staff in hand. She looks at Hiroshi. Should we be afraid? I don't sense danger. Let us meet her. As I walk up to the native woman, she stands tall and still, with the help of her staff. and her green eyes quickly processed the three mages. Hello, Higroshi extends his hand. My name is Higroshi, and this is Hetsu and Menzi. We're new to this realm. The native woman's eyes widen, and she seems to almost jump out of her skin. You speak the language of the Lost Realm? Lost Realm? What do you mean? How did you get here? She asks frantically. We created and cast an Ip spell, says Hiroshi. He continues confused. Is there a problem? Only that the land I suppose you come from has been lost to the other realms for centuries, especially to Yilai Weiyu, the Central Realm. The Central Realm. Do the markings in stone have anything to do with that name? Yes. She looks to all three of them. You must meet our realm leader. He will answer any more questions you might have, though I'm sure he has several more questions for you. The native woman then begins to lead Higroshi, Hetsu, and Menzi to the leader of Yilai Weiyu. It has been close to an hour, and the four still walk on the engraved stone to their destination. How is there still writing beneath our feet? Are we going in circles? Asks Hetsu. No, we move in a straight line. This writing has started thousands of years ago, and it is still being written. What it means, I'll let my leader answer that. Eventually they reach a stone house, at least 5 stories high. They walk in and enter a room filled with people with the same dark skin, green eyes, and wearing the same cloth apparel. Some held magic staves, some did not. Most of the people sat on high stools around tables eating or drinking. Others stood around looking dangerous. This is the first floor of the native house. It is used as an inn. Please continue to follow, says the native woman, as she begins to climb a staircase. The staircase ends on the next floor, a huge empty room. The second floor is used for gatherings and small celebrations. As they walk across the room, Menzi loves the way there is so much space and it's void of sound. She dwells on this feeling as they walk to the next staircase and climb it. They reach the third floor. This floor is the native library. You can learn many things about Yileweiyu here. Not all things, but many things. As they are about to reach the fourth floor, the native woman turns around to the three mages. This floor is where you will find our leader, Velgog. Address me as Zol. And your names? I am Higroshi. I am Hetsu. Menzi. Nice to meet you all. Zol then begins to proceed to climb the staircase, but stops to add, please be patient with us. We don't speak the language of the Lost Realm every day. The fourth floor, like the other floors, have stone walls. The floor is stone too, but from the staircase to the other side of the room lies a dark green rug, and at the end of the rug is a throne with an old man sitting in it. Velgog, leaning to one side. Zol greets Velgog in their language, then introduces the three mages. So you three are from the Lost Realm. Velgog eyes them up and down heavily. We know this to be true. How? We don't exactly know ourselves, answers Hiroshi. We come from the land of the five lords. Or I should say, former lords. The Lost Realm has had many, nicknames. But its real name is a mystery. Hiroshi hadn't thought about his home realm having a name before. To him it has always been the land of five lords or his realm. Let us come back to the subject of your realm. Tell me, do you know where you are? Yilai Weiyu. That is our realm's name, but where we are is more than that. So where are we? The center point of all realms. 4. Evner sits at a round table, amongst other mages, in Hiroshi's castle, while they discuss a problem with the order of the castle. He is mostly silent during the meeting, giving nods and agreeing when need be, for something unknown was giving trouble to his stomach. A deep, unsettling feeling, like something was going to change drastically. Therefore his attention was not on the subject of lack of teleportation spheres in the castle, but rather, what was he going to deal with once the meeting was over? Though to his surprise he couldn't even wait until the meeting was over. A knock sounds at the door, and in comes the castle guard. Evner, sir, you are required. Evner stands and addresses the other mages. I'm sorry, it seems I'm needed, and leaves with the guard. As the guard leads the way to the gate of the castle, Evner says, how many times do I have to say that gate beggars are always turned down? It is a bit more important than that, Sir Evner. Just then a door in the hallway they were walking down opens, and out walks Bleezy. Evner, greets Bleezy, and the former lord joins in walking with the guard and the mage. If this is what I believe it may be. Should I be prepared to fight? Asks Evner. You should always be prepared, replies Bleezy. If you're asking will you fight, I would say it's possible. But Abner, I'm only going off my mage senses. And this. He pulls out the note he acquired from the apothecary. I am alive. I come to stand at the gates of the new castle. Let me in. Abner reads it, then hands it back to the former lord. It doesn't exactly sound aggressive. Right. I still think we should be ready for anything. Whoever wrote this, Bleezy says gravely, wants more than to visit. Abner, Bleezy, and the guard are now outside, walking towards the outer gate of the castle. They already have their eyes on the person trying to enter. He wears light brown robes and a tan hood and cloak. His back is to the castle. Who wishes to enter the castle? Asks Bleezy sternly, as they approach the man. The man turns, and his eyes and Abner's eyes meet. Cold iris to cold iris. Ulanus, says Abner. Yes, it is Ulanus. I have come to redeem myself as a mage. Ha, spits Bleezy. Why should we even stand on the same ground you stand on, betrayer? Ulanus looks deeply saddened. I know I have done wrong, and if it wasn't for these wrongs I would have been back sooner. I have changed in the 12 months past. Light energy is the only path I follow. Forever. Abner and Bleezy are silent. Please, you must see I speak the truth. I've been living in the forest of Hewden's land, my mind dwelling on the events caused by Merlot. Even though I was confused about light and dark energy, Merlot forced me to join him. I had no choice. If you give me a second chance, I will show you I am vowed to stay in light energy. Abner and Bleezy step away from Ulanus and speak quietly to one another. Do you think we can trust him, Abner? I can't tell. He seems sincere. Yet he seemed sincere when he said he had escaped Merlot all those months ago. Can I make a suggestion? The guard interrupts. What is it? Says Bleezy. Why don't you put him in prison and wait for Higrosi to make a decision? With his level 70 senses, he is sure to know what to do. Bleezy looks to Abner and Abner agrees. Your fate is settled, Ulanus. You will be put in prison until Higrosi can make a decision. This is bearable news. You too will see I am good once again. You will see. The guard then puts chains on Ulanus' wrists and takes him to the castle's prison. Bleezy meets up with the rest of the former lords, and Abner takes a walk in the castle's garden. The mission falls on you, Owen, states Domlinks, and grabs the Hereditary gang member by the shoulders. You must investigate the working quarters of Higrosi and his mages, and see if our realm's name lies there. Once you have searched, take what is important, and burn everything else. Owen bows her head, saying, It will be done, and turns to leave. Oh, and Owen, the Hereditary leader stops her. I know you are quite skilled with those knives of yours, but keep the killing to a minimum. She smiles and exits the Hereditary gang base. The sun has just set, leaving the sky twilight green. Alwyn takes note of this as she gets on her horse. She loves riding at night because she becomes practically invisible to people. She is an unidentified being, riding to a destination unknown to others, and this is ideal to her. Eventually, Higrosi's castle rises in the horizon, and her mission finally sets into her mind. I am to intrude the home of the most powerful mage in the realm, she says under her breath. So be it. As she approaches the gate of the castle, she slows her horse and allows the guards to approach her. Who goes there? They call out. A noblewoman of Theodore's castle, she calmly says. She waits a moment, then explains further. I was instructed to meet Theodore here to discuss. She thinks for a moment. What sounds like important mage business? I'm here to discuss teleportation spheres. Good thing you're here. The castle is running low. Open the gates. The guards return to their positions, and Owen rides into the inner yard. The inner yard is quiet, with only a few mages scattered here and there. As she goes to stable her horse, there is a group of mages close to the stable, surrounding an orb on a sitting stool. As she is walking by them to get to the castle, the orb emits a terribly loud vroom sound, and is covering the whole yard in a bright yellow light. Alwyn jumps back, unsheathes one of her knives, and waits for an attack by the mages. Instead, the sound and light dies down, and the mages applaud the show. Alwyn sheathes her knife, whispers under her breath, Mage scum, and continues into the castle. She wanders the halls for some time, checking in random doors, seeing they're empty, then continuing on. Eventually, she comes across two mages, one in yellow robes, the other in blue, also walking the halls. She follows them. Once the mages reach their destination, a door on the second floor, and go in, Alwyn stays out for a moment so as to not seem suspicious, then enters. This is ridiculous, a mage starts. We have been at this meeting for hours, and still no conclusion to the teleportation sphere shortage. Alwyn takes a seat, trying not to draw too much attention to herself. Listen here, mages. We will go around the table once more and share our suggestions. Alwyn feels coming to this room was a mistake. How was she going to leave the room without revealing she isn't a mage? She has to act quickly. No need to go around the room. Her voice cracks as she says this. Feeder has sent me here with a message. Finally, says the once aggravated mage relieved. What is the message? There has been a house in Feeder's land filled with chests of spheres. Wonderful. Wonderful news. Have they been identified? Yes. The mage shoots her a questioning look. We're going to need details. I was told to give the rest of my information to Higrosi. Can someone direct me to his working quarters? I'm afraid he has not come back to the realm. So the rumors are fact. I must remember to tell Domlings, thinks Alwyn. She then abruptly gets up from her chair. Are you telling me they've sent me on another needless quest? I'll just go have a word with Federer. She attempts to exit the room, but before she can, the man who seems to be in charge of the meeting steps in front of the door. What did you say your name was? He asks. I am noblewoman Plora of Federer's castle, and I find it very offensive you have to ask. On the other side of the table, a mage gets up from his chair. I am from Federer's castle. I have never met or heard of a Plora. Alwyn then realizes there's no getting out of this through lies. She takes out two of her knives and puts her back against the wall. An actual noblewoman screams out, She is an anti-mage! Alwyn runs at the mage in front of the door. Before he can utter a spell, the knives rip through his flesh, and he falls to the ground. She immediately opens the door and runs out. Okay, Alwyn, she says to herself. Your mission still stands. Find Higrosi's working quarters. Attempt to find Realm's name. Destroy everything else. The Heredity gang member's heart is now beating crazily as she runs through the halls trying her best to carry out her mission. She finds a staircase she believes will lead her to the working quarters and climbs them. As she reaches the top, she finds the last person she ever thought she would see again. Brother? Asks Alwyn. Sis? Asks Evner. A mage silently climbs the stairs and unexpectedly knocks the two siblings out with a quick incantation. 5. The center point of all realms? The grocer repeats back to Velgok. What does that mean exactly? It means Velgok sits upright. This place is where all other realms are connected. This is the heart realm, the central realm, the middle realm. In ancient times, this was the birthplace and grave. But now all realms seem to remain. They are not birthed, for they already are. They do not die, they sustain. How many realms are there, wonders Menzi? In my decades of being central leader, I have counted thousands. Thousands, breathes Hetsu. All with drastic differences. Yellow, blue, white, red suns. Metal grounds, stone grounds, soil grounds. Air that tastes sweet, yet others have air that tastes like nothing. Vega goes on to tell the three realm visitors about the differences of realms. Finally, he says, I'm sorry. It seems I've spoken longer than anyone has wished, myself included. He stands and one of the natives hands him a staff for walking. People of the Lost Realm, would you please join me in a meal before I retire? We would like that, says Higrosi. Hatsu and Menzi nod in agreement. Greatness, follows Zol. Just then Velgok takes his staff in both hands, raises it, then brings it down swiftly. A calming yet alerting sound emanates from the ground, and it seems the staff is being consumed by the floor. At the same time, the floor creates a small hole. The more the staff is consumed, the larger the hole becomes. When the staff is completely gone, all that is left is a large portal-like hole. Velgok jumps in. Come, says Zol. We shall meet him on the first floor. Higrosi, Menzi, Hatsu, and Zol take the stairs that were taken to the fourth floor, back to the first, to meet Velgok, who is sitting at a fairly sized table, staff in hand. Our meal will be had by us soon, I think. In the meantime, I have some questions for you. We'll do our best to answer them, says Higrosi as they all sit. First, starts the Central Realm leader. How did you manage to come here? Researching the Ib spell after a powerful ancient leader of the Lost Realm. My friends and I are some of the leaders of the Lost Realm. We have been researching the Ib spell after a powerful ancient leader of the Lost Realm was summoned. He used Ib to banish an evil sorcerer. This ancient leader of yours, was he known as Mage? Yes, exclaimed Tagrosi. Did you know him? He was before my lifetime, but he is a legend to the Yilai Wegu people. Etsu looks behind Velgok and sees that the food is coming. The central leader follows his eye. The food has come. This is a delicacy. The bowls are put in front of Velgok, Zol, and their guests. Broad frog stew. As the three visitors taste the strange meal, Velgok returned to his questions. In all the people of different realms I've met, I have not met ones with gold eyes. Is this normal in the Lost Realm? No. They are a reaction to a highly magical potion called Slumber Growth. Higroshi then explains how the potion, given to them by the five lords of the realm, raised their and two others' magic level to 20, so they would be able to fight alongside the five lords against level 50 Merlot. The five lords allies fought with Merlot and an ally turned against us. When the dust of battle settled, all that were left standing were me, Merlot, and my wife Truni held captive. And so you summoned Mage to rid him from your realm. Precisely. This was 12 months ago. Remarkable story. Velgoth picks up his bowl and drinks the broth from it. And a long time has passed. I am curious. What are your levels currently? I am level 70, but I have done some research and found I am approximately 70.061, says Hiroshi. 32, says Menzi. 23.588, says Hetsu sternly. Hiroshi looks at him and he looks back in a way he never has before. This unsettles Hiroshi. I really enjoyed the meal. Hetsu addresses Velgok, and I am glad the Lost Realm and the Central Realm have connected once again. As am I glad, replies Velgok, and smiles. Zol then says something to Velgok in their language. Zol here has just informed me that our food provisions are running low. She must leave with others to acquire what is a Lost Realm word for it? More. Please excuse me, says Zol, and begins to leave with others who are sitting at another table. Hetsu looks at the people anxiously and blurts out, May we join? Zol looks back at the visitors with a wide smile. If you truly want to. Higroshi, Menzi, Hetsu looks to his incantation research partners and friends. Menzi's gold eyes light up. I have not hunted since being with my flame clan. I'll go. I'm very sorry, friends and realm hosts, but I must decline. Our realm needs attending to. Well then, Hetsu and Menzi, let's be swift. At this hour, broad frogs are leaping about the most. Higroshi watches as Hetsu and Menzi leave with the natives out of the central building. Lost Realm Leader, before you return home, we must discuss something. Two mugs filled with light brown bubbling liquid were set in front of them. What is it, Central Realm Leader? Higroshi then took a gulp of the drink. He immediately almost coughs it up, because of how sweet of an ale it is. He can tell it is an ale because of the exhilarating tartness. Your realm name. Velgok takes a sip of the ale. How is it that an entire realm has forgotten it? I would guess centuries of needlessness. Or maybe we have been so distracted by magic, it has ascended up and out of our minds, such as smoke leaves a burning house, that has accumulated too much fire. Ah, but you see it is not needless now. He guzzles down much of his ale. And I will not accept the answer of distraction. I'm quite sure Mage remembers, and being the most powerful spellcaster, he was most distracted. Why doesn't the Heart Realm know my realm's name? Mage convinced us to let it go. Velgok stands and walks to the window. Did you see all the engravings? Hiroshi nods. Every vertical line tells the full name of a realm. It goes in every direction for miles. Velgok returns to his seat. If you travel east for 2 miles, you will see a realm name scratched out of the stone besides one letter, keeping it alive. Mage said, if you do this for my realm, I will teach you a special form of magic, one that relies on objects. So we did, and now my people live great lives, at the cost of having a realm unknown to us. Why did he do that? Maybe he thought he was protecting his realm from the others. Maybe he thought he was protecting the others from his. Either way, it is lost until what? Until you search and succeed in finding its name. Hiroshi took a long drink from his mug, set it down, and stared at it for a long time. Finally, he said, "Where do I begin looking?" Velgal looked at him with a satisfied smile. "Well said, young leader." He then explains to Hiroshi that Mage told his great-great-grandfather there was a family he trusted with his most precious secrets. Mage would inform the head of the family, a man named Runkly, and that man would tell his firstborn son. That son would tell his son, and, in doing so, Mage's secrets would be in safekeeping. But Mage was alive 500 years ago. Is it possible the Runkly family line still holds Mage's information? Vilgog looks darkly with his green eyes into the gold eyes of the other leader. I hope so. Though it was unsaid, the two leaders knew it was time for their meeting to come to an end. They both stand. The Runkly family used to reside in a house in Bleezy's land. This is all I know to aid you. Thank you, Velgok. You have given me a new quest to immediately start on, and I will. And with that, Higroshi casts. I aid Vilawayu Temporic Travestate this mage, and is whisked back to his home run. 6. A knock sounds on the young apothecary's shop door. With relative speed, he opens the door to find three men, several ages older than him, all wearing belts with some empty, some filled vials lashed onto them, not too different from his. You the apothecary? True enough. And you three are the new assistants. I'm Grapple, red hair, tall, linkish. This is Breve, blonde hair, short, kid-like stature. And that's Dome. Grapple points to a man crouching by shrubbery, comparing leaves to one another. His hair is short and black. He is considerably older looking than the apothecary and the two others, and his build hints to him being an avid hunter. They all wear dark gray traveling robes and dark brown hooded capes. Well met. I am Runkly, 15th the 4th. Oi, 15th the 4th? Did this bloodline of yours originate in Bleezy's land? No. Ah. Everyone then awkwardly looks around, coincidentally all observing the weather together. Well then, please enter. They all enter the shop, and walk on to a back room to gather around a wooden table on four sturdy wooden stools. Runkly explains why they are required. I'm calling the sickness magic disintegration, as my customers complain of a depletion of their magic capabilities, along with a headache which feels of heat, and impaired vision. The potion I'm calling magic coagulation. It is mainly a cure to the heat headaches and loss of eyesight, but many patients are saying their magic has stopped depleting, though unfortunately not fully returning. I require assistance collecting ingredients, all of which are contained by the deep forest, and the mixing, which takes 30 hours to complete. And these ingredients are, inquires Stone. For one filled vial, we need one small handful of red tree root hairs, 5 whole leaves from shade brown vines, stable oak tree sap. Sounds surprisingly simple. And a hydra crystal. Bah ha ha, laughs Breve, the small one. The existence of hydroxide crystals is a rumor, and if those rumors reveal themselves true, it is said to obtain one you must dive in a 200 feet deep underwater chasm. Tell me, Runkly. Breve leans in close to him and lifts his neck comically. Do I have gills? I can tell you three they do exist. Runkly pulls out of the folds of his apron an icicle-like object. As he holds it close to candlelight, Grapple takes note of the mildly hot room temperature. The once seemingly frozen object is dry and intact. These must sit in the sap of the potion while mixing in the ingredients. It intensifies the effects of them. Oh, and about needing gills. Runkly takes out a hammer and cracks a small piece of the hydroxide crystal. With this settled on your tongue, the need for air is somehow notwithstanding. When do we get started? Asks Stone. As soon as the present. Runkly, 15th to 4th. Grapple, Brave, and Dome are now deep in the forests of Bleezy's land. Breve is stripping the shade brow vines of their leaves and stuffing them in large bags strapped to his back. Grapple is filling wooden buckets with sap from a tree with deep orange leaves. Runkly and Doan are kneeling in well-shoveled holes under red trees, shaving white hairs off crimson-colored roots, and putting them in small bags they can tie to their belts. The apothecary looks to the sky. Through the trees, the sun shows it is a few hours past noon. We must swim for hijack crystals now, while we can still tell the surface from the depths by the light. They then follow him to a beautifully serene lake about 75 feet around. Without another word, they remove their robes, place the hijack crystals on their tongues, and dive into the warm water. Deeper and deeper into the flooded chasm they dive, glancing at one another to make sure they are not unknowingly parting from the group. Runkley has only done this once before. Using a chip of hydrox he bought for 400 coins to breathe, he collected 7 crystals without too much difficulty. He estimates they are about halfway to the crystals when something horrifying catches his eye. Silvery white scales. They are not alone. Before Runkley can get the others' attention, a low rumbling emanates from the spot the creature was seen. They all stop their descent and look in the direction the sound came from. For a while they wait, staring into the dark waters. Suddenly, a large beast harpoons toward them, long tusks, insane purple eyes, the size of 8 men. Without hesitation, Dawn approaches the deep water-dwelling creature and casts the terror spell, Tuliosak! The word echoes loudly, the pitch of the sound lowering while the volume increases. It is not a spell to injure enemies, but to discourage them from attacking. Once the spell dies, the 4 potion makers look to the creature, hopeful that it will leave now. The tusked mouth twists into a smile. It is amused. Grubble wastes no time. He casts Void Current, attempting to push the beast out of range of them. It then swims forward as fast as its webbed-clawed hands will allow, counteracting the spell's effects. Still swimming, it reaches Grapple and goes to bite down on his head. With little choice, he reaches out and grabs the monster by its tusks. It starts shaking violently, yanking Grupple's arms almost out of socket. The others grab onto the tusks as well and pull. With a snap, a tusk is removed from its mouth, creating a cloud of blood. The tusk now in Runkley's hand, he wields it as a dagger, and starts stabbing it in its underbelly. Cries of pain overwhelm them. The silvery white scaled predator stops moving and slowly drifts away. They continue their mission and collect 35 Hydrat crystals, along with the tusk of the Rage Energy Water Tiger. Runkley found out later this was the name of the beast. 7. Not very much further, Lothram mages. You will see our destination just over this hill, explains Zol. Menzi looks to Hetsu with an expression of pure enjoyment. He returns her look with a smile. Not 2 moments later, they reach the top of the hill, and the 2 visitors are stunned with awe. Huge, sweeping trees are seen in the distance, surrounded by pools of water and thriving plant life. Startled by a crackling screech, Hetsu looks above him to see a large bird soaring to the same destination. And keeping vigil watch on all of this is the blue burning sun hanging in the orange sky. Now amongst the trees seen earlier, they travel under them, searching for the bodies of water. Near and containing broad frogs. Zol approaches them and puts in their hand 2 small metal objects. These are rings of archery. They will allow you to wield bows which don't break, bowstrings that don't snap, and an infinite amount of arrows. To wield, extend your arm. Menzi does so, and, appearing in her hand, is a slightly white, transparent bow. Zol wears a grin as she says, "Let us begin." Hetsu and Menzi had some trouble handling the magic bows at first, but in a matter of an hour they were similarly as great at bow hunting broad frogs as the central natives. "Hetsu, this is an epic experience," Menzi exclaims, looking toward her friend. "Indeed," he answers, in a strangely disappointing manner. He notches a transparent arrow and hits a broad frog 10 trees away, knocking it off its feet. "What's your trouble, Het?" Menzi looks sincerely concerned. Higrosi. "What of him?" He speaks as if he is above us in some way. "Well, Hetsu, he is, and about 30 levels so. Curse mage for that." If Hessa was facing Menzi, he would have seen her response to be a look of shock. Where is this coming from? Higroshi and I, we were very close in magic capabilities at one time. Friends at that. Now, he spits in the nearby water. He doesn't acknowledge me or the work I do. He must, and on top of that, he looks at Menzi with a hard and yet hurt glare. He will take from me the one thing I prize just as much as leveling up. What's... stammers Menzi. Without time to blink, Hetsu steps closer to her and kisses her. She immediately casts a spell without words, shoving him away from her with great force. Staggering back, he searches for her reasoning behind doing this. That was not fair for you to do that, she says sternly, and leaves to meet with Zol and the others. Hetsu is left standing in the otherworldly paradise alone, watching the strange birds glide through the air beside the setting blue sun. Higroshi appears in his working quarters, to a realm seemingly unchanged. It will almost surely be some time before his colleagues arrive, and so instead of getting straight to work as usual, he decides to meet with the former lords. But first, a slow walk through the castle. Walking, his thoughts currently seem to float around the same topics. The realm's perennium and central, the name of his realm, and more so than either of these, Menzi, though thinking of this beautiful mage of creation was a constant. His leisure time was ended short by a nobleman named Placatus, who was mainly in charge of, well, something unknown to Higroshi. Lord Higroshi, just returning? This is so, Placatus. Is there something needed? Not from me, but make your way to the prison cell when possible. And with that, Placatus continued down the hall and into a room. Prison cell, wonders Higroshi aloud, and climbs down the staircase, making his way to the bottom floor as instructed. As he nears the floor of the prison, he can hear an argument coming from a familiar voice, though he struggles to identify who it belongs to. I must point out that you judging me for my past is wrong. It is what I did when I met you, Evner, and it isn't right. Evner, thinks Higroshi. What is he doing here, and what is this about? It is unfortunate you see that so late in time. You had no empathy then, and so I will not side with you now. Higroshi reaches the cell to find Evner standing face to face with the last mage Higroshi would ever expect to see again. Ulanus. As Higroshi addresses the mage thought to be dead, they can all hear the intensity of the utterance. Higroshi. Why have you returned? And how? The answer to how I returned is known by me only through the rumor I've been told while staying in the inns of Bleezy's land. It is said Mage granted you the wish of resurrecting the lords and the allies. It is apparent that included the Mal ally. Indeed, this is now apparent, but Ulanus, you haven't answered why you have returned. Ulanus approaches the magic-infused iron bars, and stands face to face with the realm's leader. I come for redemption. And what then? You wish to work alongside us realm leaders? Your relationship with us is tainted with treachery, Ulanus. You will not be given permanent imprisonment. I will give you this. But you are unfit for action. Agros's eyes dart toward the woman sitting in the dark corner of the cell, unseen until now. Give him an action to undergo in return for full redemption. Or are you mages above action? Higroshi, this is my sister, Alwyn, of the Heredity Gang, introduces Evner. I bumped into her several floors below your working quarters. When they caught up with her, they assumed I am an accomplice, and so I am here. The level 70 mage takes a moment to decide his next words. Finally, he says, Ulanus, I have your action. I have a quest to embark on soon. Assist me, and you will have redemption. And to Evner, I have something to ask of you. Yes, Lord. Please question your sister Alwyn about her presence in the castle. It will be done. 8. Evner and Alwyn now stand on the balcony connected to his room of the castle. They have been silent for a while. Why are you in Higros's castle, Alwyn? Have you not guessed? The anti-mage organizations know about Higros's venturing through realms. Why do the groups care about the business of a mage? Alwyn doesn't answer. Instead, she looks away into the clouded night sky. Evner exacts his question. Why is Domlings interested in our realm studies? Do you think I will tell my leader's intentions to you? I have no power over how long you will stay behind locked bars, so inform us or make yourself feel at home. Alwyn looks at her younger brother and sees the type of person they once despised mutually. Although she was always aware of his skill with energy, it was dark energy. All I can say is this: us true beings of the world are becoming strong with our will. True beings. A term I've not heard uttered for some time. Abner then enters into a trance of remembrance, recalling all of his old teachings. Once he finally yanks himself away as if from an unwanted dream, he states, "You will be in prison once again, until we feel you have informed us properly. Follow me." Abner begins to take her to her cell when he realizes she is not walking behind him. With truly remarkable luck, the moon creeps out from the cover of the clouds to reveal on the floor in front of him the shadow of Owen with a knife in hand. He quickly turns around and grabs her wrist to halt the knife's arc to his back. "Sibling," he stammers. "You stopped being my sibling when you converted to light energy, mage scum." She then unsheaths her other knife and stabs him in his defending arm. Abner lets go of her and runs. She gives chase until he takes out of his tool belt the first teleportation sphere he can grasp and shatters it. The horrified gang member stares into the empty space the mage lord was just inhabiting, breathing sporadically. As she calms, she realizes she can still carry out her mission. Alwyn returns to Abner's room, slips on one of his mage robes, and makes her way to Higrossy's working quarters at a reasonable pace. Grabbing some important-looking books, she sets fire to the room and exits. Running as fast as she can through the halls, when approached she would just yell, "Fire in Higrossy's room!" and continue her escape. Though it was strange for a mage to not simply cast a water element spell to clear the flames, her running wasn't strange enough to question her. She successfully flees the castle on her horse, conflicted with the feelings of completing her mission and attempting to murder her sibling. Her expression shows her troubled mind. Abner stands in the council room of Hewden's castle, having just appeared from the teleportation sphere. Though the gash in his forearm wasn't severe enough to kill him, he immediately slumps in the closest chair in emotional agony of what just happened. Why, Alwyn? Why? Higrossi and Ulanus are now leaving Hewden's castle on horseback, after teleporting to it, accompanied by Menzie, who has just returned to the realm. Menzie gazes at the setting orange sun, in a new appreciation after seeing the similarly magnificent blue sun of the Heart Realm. We ride to the north section of the main village and Hewden's land, and move south until we find our Runkly descendant, or until someone has information on their whereabouts. "Simple," says Ulanus, relieved. "Indeed. Once we find them and are in a private remote area, we will begin discussing the realm's name." "Simple," says Ulanus, relieved. "Indeed. Once we find them and are in a private remote area, we will begin discussing the realm's name." Realm's name. It is strange I hadn't considered the concept earlier. I bet it's something beautiful. A word that's soothing to hear and refreshing to say. Mm-hmm. Higrossi acknowledges Menzi's comment with deep thought. Now, they continue their ride in silence, and in an hour they are among the civilians of this village, of hearts and roots, allowing it to thrive with quests and actualities once thought myth. The majority of people seen were living proof of this, wearing meaningful garments and holding staves charged with powerful enchantments. They are not incredibly wealthy in coin, but immensely wealthy in spirit and renown. Yes, Higrossi and Menzi are lords, but to these mages they are humans like themselves. They show them no reverence. There. Menzi points to a place that serves minor potions. A place people usually stay up to date with what goes on around them. If the Runkly name still holds relevance, we would be looking to fail our quest if we didn't search there. They enter the mage pub and sit at a table, set in the center of the room. A man approaches them immediately. "What would you like?" "3 pure gem waters," orders Ulanus. "Right away." The man walks to the mixing counter while they look around. 9 other tables are scattered throughout the room, 2 of which are in use. The first table in the far left corner is surrounded by 4 young adult females, all appearing to be grateful for their break from studying the level 9 mage scrolls. At the other table sat a mage in forest green robes, not unlike the robes Hetzel wore before he drank the slumber growth all that time ago, along with a hood of the same color, and an all-gold belt around his waist. "Good sir, would you like to join us? We are in need of information," asks Menzie. The man looks at the 3 mages, grumbles something to himself, picks up his sparkling black ale, and sits across from the inquiring mage. Ulanus on his left and Higrosa on his right. I am Warndo. How can I assist? Have you heard of the Runkley family name? I'm afraid not. As he finishes his ale, he stands to leave. In mid-swallow, he stops. Wait. Runkley. Yes. He sits again. The name was uttered in a conversation just last night. The man who said it comes in here often. He'll probably enter in an hour or so. The server comes back with 4 glasses, one containing Warndo's black ale, while the others contain one bright, transparent gem, clanking around in each. He sets the glasses on the table. With a raised hand over the first glass, the gem floats out. He then cups his hand on both sides, all the while not physically touching it. He breathes in and calmly utters the spell, Jewels, and the gem seems to condense in as an unnatural amount of liquid splashes into the mug. He finishes making all of the gem waters and returns to the counter to wait for customers. This gives energy revitalization of the body, says Ulanus. While traveling to the castle, I would often get this light ale. One mug would sustain one for days, great for long traveling. Higrosi is surprised he has not heard of this. It does make sense, seeing as Higrosi spends astronomical amounts of time with his head buried in ancient scrolls. He gets up from his chair and walks over to the server to buy a dozen gem waters. The 4 of them wait in silence for most of the next 3 hours. Menzi has her thoughts and feelings centered around her friend Hetsu and her friend Higrosi, the Realm Lord, the high-level mage sitting next to her. Higrosi thinks if they do not appear soon, they will have to return after exploring elsewhere. 9. Abner sits in Huden's castle distraught, slumped forward. He has no plans for his immediate future, and is thinking of no spells to cast. If aught is on his mind, it is his rhythmic breathing. Now, he suddenly realizes something. The former lords informed him they would be in Huden's castle today. He sits there idly for a few moments, and then goes to search for them. This did not take long. In Huden's banquet hall sit 5 renowned mages, sharing a meal and speaking quite joyfully. As he approaches, Federer, his homeland's lord, notices him first. Abner, my friend, come and eat. A cook standing near hears Federer's suggestion, and sets a plate from his tray onto the table at an available seat. Abner sits down, and begins to eat the lamb ribs and cut tomatoes rather sluggishly. So upset about the previous ordeal, he forgets to inform them. Crope sees this. Tell me, Abner, what is your tribulation? A prisoner. Yes, your sister. The interrogation was not successful? This is true. Also, Abner pushes his dinner away. He feels as if his failure has made his meal undeserved. She has escaped. All of the lords looked at Abner unsure of what to say. Since they are now peers magic-wise, and because the prisoner was his sibling, they cannot really reprimand him like a common mage pedestrian. Gomek is the first to speak. If this is so, then naturally she continued with her mission and fled. He assumes. If I am correct, we must check Higros's castle and assess the damages. The 6 lords ate what was left on their plate, took out teleportation spheres, whisking themselves off to carry out their duty. Wow, Zol. So teleportation spheres come from the central realm? So teleportation spheres are from the central realm? This is so. When Mage came and collected them, he outcasted some for his realm. For this realm, and on Velgok's elder's permission, he left some unaugmented so he could outcast the rest. What is outcast? Wonders Hetsu. It is to assign the spheres. Zol simplifies her explanation. But Mage was alive hundreds and hundreds of years ago. The spheres are still being used today. I am without surprise. The legend states that Mage collected 100,000 spheres single-handedly. Without hesitation, Hetsu exclaims, I would like to collect teleportation spheres. This is a difficult task. Mage took with him most of the spheres. Also, there are live beasts who roam the ground that the spheres are buried under, and it is a long journey from here. Even us Heart Realm born do not use them often, for they are not worth the troublesome effort. But, Zol smiles, it will be a good experience. Zolan has to start walking to the grounds, and someone walks up to the 2 soon-to-be sphere collectors. I have great news, Zol. Entirely great. And this could be? Hetsu notices Zol's word inflections are very similar to Hetsu's now. He wonders why this is. The Tele beasts have removed their hatred against the Central Realms moving about, and have permitted us to do exactly so. Zol shows her enthusiasm by letting out a joyous "woo!" and all Central Realm people around them chuckle with glee. Hetsu wears a peaceful grin. Zol then looks to Hetsu and appears skeptical of how he will react to what she's about to say. Hetsu is aware of why her face fell so. Is there something wrong? The mage simply asks. It's just you may need to return to your realm. I will talk to the telebeasts and ask if they will allow you to also venture forth for teleportation spheres. This is no problem, Zol. I'll just say the... Wait. Zol steps forward and gently kisses Hetsu on the temple next to his eye. She stands on the wall for free to do so, and when she gives him a peck, she stays there for a moment and then runs off with intense agility. Hetsu stands there emotionally full for a short time, and without hesitation casts the spell. I ib Yilewayu temporal travestate this mage, leaving Yilewayu, and happily going to his home to finally feel whole there. Warndo taps the shoulder of Higroshi. Look by the door. With the commotion of the other in-guests, Ulanus and Menzi are unaware of the newest individuals entering, and continue to discuss the components of the light illusion spell he first saw Menzi conjure in the slumber growth room. Stay here, says Higroshi to Warndo, swiftly approaching. Oi, who are you? Says one of the group, nervous of Higroshi's fast procession to greet. He slows and introduces himself. Higroshi, Realm Lord. And you are? The startled man is now dumbfounded at his extreme luck. My name is Grapple, Great Mage. That's Breve, and that's Stone. The other two nod in the form of a greeting. What can we assist you with, Hiroshi the Lord? I'm looking for someone. If you would come and sit, we may discuss things. Of course. Ulanus the hope to be redeemed. Menzi the powerful and beautiful, and Warndo the wealthy stand to meet Grapple the admirable leader. Breve the enduring, and Don the semi-quiet. They sit shortly after, having more drinks brought for everyone, and begin their conversation. Even with my level 70 mind, I am aware of no reason why I should talk around my general question, begins Higroshi. He looks to Menzi for confirmation on if this is a good idea. She nods. Higroshi asks, Do you know of a man named Drunkley? With no hesitation, Grapple replies, Indeed. Where can I find him? I'll carry out one better. Grapple takes his glass of gem water, pours some of it in a perfect fashion on what looked like sacred parchment, and began to roll it around until it formed a large translucent pill. He then picked it up and popped it into his mouth. He swallowed. I'll take you to him. The apothecary assistants and the lord sat in the inn mapping out the way from where they sat now in Hewden's land to the potion shop in Bleezy's. Grapple told him the Runkley family line moved from Hewden's land to Bleezy's many decades ago. Higroshi did want to share his teleportation spheres with the individuals newly acquired in the group. Yes, it would have been hours faster, but he has seen what the fast traveling spheres have done to people. They become accustomed to it and spend all of their coin obtaining it. It helps the castles of the realm's coin chests fill, but hurts the people of the realm's pockets. Higroshi, Menzi, Ulanus, Warndo, Grapple, Breve, and Dome travel for 7 hours and find the road that will take them to the potion shop in no more than 25 minutes. Although not even Higroshi, the level 70 lord, expected to see who they saw on the road. 10. By the true human's breath, this is unexpected, says Honsek to Domlinks and Germadrin. The three anti-mage leaders, with their deeply evil-looking clothes of dark brown, black, and gray, stand face to face with three lords and their company. What? Hiroshi starts. Downright perplexed at this sight, even he is seemingly without right words. What are you doing here? At this moment, says Germadrin, I would not be surprised if the reason for everyone's trekking on this road was one and the same. To find the... Cease your unthought out words there, yells Menzi. We are not indoors of a private residence, or even a residence at all, to be speaking about confidential reasons for being. Mage scum, don't you dare interrupt me. Germasion steps closer angrily. Menzi notices the ancient two-headed war axe on his back. Your magic secretiveness leaves me in disgust, pampered wench. The powerful Flame Clan woman creates a floating ball of flame with both palms between it and her chest. Call me a pampered wench again. Jamajian takes his war axe in hand, and Honzek and Downlings do the same with their greatswords. Higrosi produces a longsword of condensed ice with the spell Tundric Blade. Ulanus has taken a vial from his belt with one hand and poured into the air a green poison, keeping it in a ball of levitating liquid with the other hand. Grapple, Brave, and Doan force from the ground through levitation, pebbles, and stones. With a flick of their fingers, they would shoot forth with great speed. Warndo stands there unarmed. He does not know combat spells. Everyone there is expecting a fight of enormous importance, a battle to be remembered as though a mage himself was a part of it. The quiet of the moment felt huge. Just the leaves in the trees and the gravel under Dominique's left foot can be heard. This is kept on for a moment. As Jermadrian began to lift his axe, a shout could be heard east of where they stood. They all looked in the direction of the sound. Running down the hill to the commotion was a man. He shouted again. This time everyone heard the words. Stop! Stop! As he came closer, Doan recognized the runner and stepped away from his levitating stones. It is Runkley. In the time it took for Runkley to reach them, the anti-mage leaders put away their blades. Higrosa let his magic longsword simultaneously melt and evaporate quickly into a cloud. Menzi let the ball of fire in front of her hands die out. Ulanus led the floating poison back into another empty vial. The original vial had been smashed on the ground, and all the grapple-breathing Doan's levitating stones fell onto the ground from whence they came, each of them creating a melodic tick as they hit the ground in different weights. Finally he approaches. I am Runkley, 15th the 4th. I was told groups of people were attempting to find me. I was hiding in the hills and also searching for these parties at the same time. It seems I was almost late to stop your unneeded violence. He looks to his assistants. Care to explain this? Reeve steps up. Of course, sir. Us and the lords here are... On second thought, never mind. We can discuss this in the shop. Assistants, please find the ingredients for more magic coagulation while I meet with the wildly different parties. Sooner as opposed to very much later, the secret meeting was held under Runkley's semi-new, Ulanus' old potion shop. Runkley first rolled all of the shelves that created aisles in the basement into an opening in the wall. This created a very open space for the lords and leaders to discuss this very important topic. Then he brought down from the upstairs 8 chairs, 3 for the lords, 3 for the leaders, 1 for the Runkley himself, and the last chair for someone unknown by everyone else other than Runkley. Runkley's chair and the 8th chair were put at the far wall of the basement. The lords' chairs were against the left wall and the leaders' chairs against the right. A part of this meeting, all 7 sat down and the meeting began. I, Runkley the 19th, begin this meeting now. Of the Lord's party, Higrosi speaks for them. Of the anti-mage party, Honsik speaks for them. Higrosi, please address the reason for you and your party meeting. Higrosi stands. We have come to discuss the realm's name. He sits down. Runkley lets out an uncontrollable yet short gasp. All eyes were on him in surprise. Very well. Honsek, please address the reason for you and your party meeting. We have also come to discuss the realm's name, and we have come to claim ownership. Excuse me? Minzy stands from her chair, screaming. My ears must be deceiving me. It doesn't make sense to give the realm to a people with no power, nay, no wish to control it. They just want to control the people, and... Sit, Lord. You are speaking out of turn, says Runkley sternly. Minzy stands there for a moment with a helpless knowing, then sits down, fuming. Exclusion from the meeting can and will happen if speaking out of turn continues. This I say so all hear. Now, he turns to Higrosi. You may discuss the topic of the realm's name, Lord. Higrosi stands. I, Higrosi the Lord, Menzi the Lord, and Hetsu the Lord, have journeyed out of this realm and into another. He pauses for a short time. We spoke to a man claiming leadership of the land we were in, and says it is important to find our realm's name. He said it is important because the order of the realm's future may be in danger from others. At this time, I am unaware if he meant others from a different realm or others from this realm, but I will certainly do my duty as a lord and as a mage to defend it. Higrosi sits. Runkley takes a moment to make sure he has thoroughly processed what Lord Higrosi has said, nodding to himself as he stares at the floor. With a final nod, he comes to once again. Honsek the leader, you may discuss the topic of the realm's name. Ulanus watches Honsek. Before the leader stands, he grips the shoulder of the Heredity Gang group leader, Domlings, as if to say, "Do not worry, I am in control." Instead of confusing himself into a threat, Ulanus sees this and instead contemplates the similarities between mages communicating and regular people communicating. Very similar yet different in energy usage, he thinks to himself. If it were not for his changing of self, Ulanus would be confused into picking sides again. But he has changed, and now he sits contentedly on the side he vowed to be with. Mage dominance. Heredity Gang. Grip growth. These are not new groups. The anti-mage people are indeed centuries ancient. We have watched the mages turn the realm into nasty, shameful bubbles of shallow energy, and they call it light. Nay, it is darker than our dark, and with the realm name in our possession, we will ensure the realm returns to the world's natural energy, and not their artificial light. 166. Making the three lords nervous, Runkley gives one nod of understanding, and gets up from his chair. Then, making everyone in the room nervous, he tilts his head deep in thought and sits back down. The two parties wait. Finally, it seems he has made his decision to whom he has given the realm's name, and if he will grant control to the anti-mages. He begins. As you may have guessed, this decision is a difficult one, possibly the hardest one since Mage's leveling system. He pauses. In attempting to make this decision, I have come up with a way to make this a bit simpler. Everyone's nerves in the room almost topples them all over, as Runkley walks to the end of the basement room, starts to ascend the stairs, and says, "I'll be right back." 11. As suspected, it is so. Peter lets out a newly troubled sigh. Grocery studies will indeed be set back a hair. Peter and the rest of the older lords look to Abner, to find him kneeling next to a half-burned desk. The corner of the desk that is still intact is toppled over, forming a broken-down yet interestingly formed pyramid. Abner tears out looking at the destruction. How could I ever been a part of such a wretched group? He looks up at Federer. They preach normality yet bring destruction. He sees the Lord who first brought him into light energy, rarely without word. I may seem broken to shards of glass, but I think I have a remedy for these unsettling go-abouts. Please tell, says Federer. I must find my sister and bring her into light. Huden finishes a difficult spell of reconstructing a highly important book turned to ash and looks to Ebner. We all will accompany you. No. Too many mages and the whole organization will come down upon us. You may come, Huden, and you, Federer, no one else. Bleezy, Krob, and Gomez hear this and simultaneously utter, understood, and break teleportation spheres to go back to their own business. Moving so in sync with each other reminded Abner of a school of purple-crowned fish, moving together in a current of ever-flowing water. It pleased him to see them so in tune, yet hurt him because dark energy sometimes moves this way. He came back to the realm from his daydream. I am ready to go. Huden and Federer look to each other, and Federer says, "We are too." Abner gives them each a teleportation sphere that will take them very close to the headquarters of the Heredity Gang, where they will look for Alwyn at her hangout first, and then Abner's old home. They break the spheres. It is dark in this part of the realm, though a few rays of light can be seen between the black clouds, which some of the dark energy mages conjured to fuel their remembrance of the wrong mage did by bringing back the sun. Abner, Federer, and Huden now sprint over yellowed grass, to move from obvious view and into the Heredity headquarters, a large tower next to an oddly raging river. As they reach the base of the tower, they waste no time by casting spells on the guard. Abner crashes with intense speed into the armored guard, throwing him into the tower's stone wall and breaking the unsuspecting man's neck. Abner lays in the yellow grass and dirt, recovering from his sprints, and picturing the terrified face of the dead guard. He once knew him. Federer and Huden help him up. Fellow lords, the corridors are complicated and narrow. There's a spell I know that will help us defeat anyone who approaches. Swoop swoop, casts Ebner. A large ring of light is orbiting both of his fists, right before his knuckles. A second smaller ring after the knuckle follows. At the end of Ebner's fist is a ring of light the size of a regular gold or silver ring. When you throw a punch with this spell activated, the front ring will connect first. The second and third ring will follow, creating the force of the punch and multiplying it by 10. A genius for fighting, says Yuden. Where did you find the spell? Mezzi taught it to me. The Flame Clan actually uses it to fall oak trees. Ingenious indefinitely. Swoop swoop cast Yuden. Swoop swoop cast Fedora. With no more words to exchange, Yuden and Fedora follow Evner into the tower, and find Owen not on the third or fourth floor, but on the last floor, the 25th, breathing in the black clouds heavily. The clouds chill the lungs and give heavy hallucinations while gazing at the sky. Alwyn, yells Evner. Who goes to yonder door? Alwyn sings dreamily. Anything the black cloud inhalers go through is often greatly enhanced. He will try his hardest not to anger. It is your old friend and brother, Evner. Come with me. Alwyn turns to them and looks away from the sky for the first time since they've been there. Her eyes are now glassy windows to what's behind her. It gives him bad memories. Take this teleportation sphere, sister. We will arise in sober light in life. Ha ha ha. Ha ha. Maybe I will. The weak, dark energy and all of the trash anti-mage ideas have been bothering me. I may be ignorant of it in this realm, but what Runkley tells me about the light and what I see from the dark, power is now a sorry legend. Runkley? Who exactly is Runkley? My husband from another land. A man not clear on which side he's on. They are few, yes, but the people like him, not on the fence but facing different challenges, those are the people to shape the future, not lords and leaders. I may not agree, Owen, but I will not argue. Just come with us to Gomax Castle. Let us inform you of some of the quests and problems we're facing, and you can make your decision. Or don't make your decision? Sounds quite fair, brother. Maybe your light energy people will let me see my beloved. Indeed. Feeder hands her a sphere. All four of them break one. They all arrive in grass plains outside of Gomez Castle midday. Her eyes return to their beautiful brown color, and she wells up with tears. She knows she will soon be with her husband, and so she is at peace and soon to be filled with joy. Her tears continue. 3 lords, 3 dark leaders, in the basement of the ancient Runkley family bloodline. This is huge with certainty, Higroshi thinks. Huge. Eventually Runkley returns, this time with an old man holding a staff. They walk to stand in front of the 2 empty chairs. Lords, leaders, this is Runkley the 14th, the father of my father's father's grandfather. The 15th, the 4th, and the 14th speak for a very long time. The 6 powerful people made to sit quietly and wait. Finally, the elder Runkley stands with the help of his staff and addresses them, voice ancient and fragile. You are all here today, mainly for the realm's name, I've been told, and both sides for great reasons. I personally only use magic for my health and for the health of those around me. I see great things in the future for non-magic users, and magic users. He takes a moment to catch his breath. The Runkley youth here usually only uses magic for those around him, making him a great apothecary. And I'm told, as of late, using light and dark energy to please his new wife. Elder Runkley gives a small cough and continues. But this is not only concerning our family's bloodline, it is concerning the bloodline of the whole realm, and possibly even more than this. The decision to give the realm name has been made, but before it is uttered, allow me to speak on what it means. It means great singularity, unknown strength, past, present, and future. It means to find a greater energy, even when it seems all of it is gone. The realm I have decided. He looks everyone in attendance in the eye, one by one, including the Runkley youth, who is humbled to be sitting among such greatness. I have decided to give to both parties to do what they will with it. Higroshi senses many mixed feelings about this decision. And our realm name is Mage, pronounced like the great magical leader Mage. My word, exclaims Benzi. Power Israel, mutters Ulanus excitedly. Whoa, says Honsek, Dramaedron, and Dominates in unison. But Higroshi only heard what the Runkley elder said, being super astounded at the thousands of connections he was becoming aware of with every second. Runkley elder continued. So you see now, Mage had full right to save his realm, because it was truly his to begin with. Domlings of the Horridic gang stood in furious confusion. That very well may be true, old one, but that does not mean magic is necessary for the realm, cried the leader. Do not fret, Domlings, for what I am about to propose will better everyone's situation. Domlings thinks for a moment, then sits back down. I am listening, old one. I'm sure once you had left the basement, you would have declared war and set up the realm exactly how your groups would have liked. But hear this. I declare through my knowledge of mage's secrets that the realm is now yours. Yulana snapped at this declaration. How? How can dark energy prevail after everything we've been through? After everything I've been through? For light energy users, this is also how you prevail. Yes, the realm has been given to anti-mages, but you have earned something in your diligence of purity. Another realm. And with that being said, Dark Leaders, you may now go to your homes and headquarters to await word for when to begin your sure to be drastic changes. Indeed, old and wise one, says Homsek. Farewell. 12. And so the Runkly elder and the Runkly youth spoke of this new realm they have earned. They spoke of its mighty mountains, easily climbed and settled upon. They spoke of the forests that nurture everything it comes in contact with, of rivers with waters of the purest type, and grass plains with blades of grass of the deepest green. But most important of all, they spoke of the great castle, with enough room to shelter every mage born today. It is a place Mage himself has been living and working on for centuries, and now they say Mage is waiting for them now there. Every household and clan of light energy of every part of Mage were moved into the great castle, along with all 10 lords. This includes Ulanis, who now are just regular mages, though gifted with high levels. Runkly 15th the 4th and Runkly the 14th and Alwyn were gifted by Mage himself to have existing bodies with full functionality in both realms at once. Alwyn is pregnant with a girl they will name Mystia. Higrosi and Menzi will be married, the first day of moving. Once Menzi is pregnant, Higrosi consents it will be a boy. They will name him Higgy. Hopefully Mystia and Higgy will be close. Hetsu has found the new realm, every mage, to be a paradise. He walks through the grass plains for hours, no shoes of course, and when he feels up to it, goes to the central realm to see Zol, and traffic teleportation spheres to mage and every mage. It is rumored that Zol is pregnant. It grows to the individual. A gifted ponderer of the elements is a soul surger, a rarely found mage that uses the energy of his soul to fuel his mana. He is vowed to live by pure magic. He exists in the dawn of a new realm, where mage rules once again. It will most likely always be this way. End of part 2.